It's 2025, and now we're going to go over why it could cost you between $3,000 and $5,000 just to go through that junkyard stock bottom end 5.3. Let's get to it. So it's 2025 and you want to build a stock bottom end 5.3 or other LS engine. I'm going to focus on a Gen 4 5.3 since I had a customer call wanting one done this winter. So thought I'd carry you guys along and show you what this stuff actually cost. There's a lot of wives' tales out there. Like I say, it's 2025. Parts are getting stupid expensive. Cores are a little bit harder to find, yada yada. So let's jump right into this. So I've got a Google Doc pulled up, and what I've done here is kind of went and did a shopping cart from Brian Tooley Racing and from Summit Racing to find everything that I personally use. And let me preface this that you can do this cheaper, you can cut some corners. This is just the way I do them. It's kind of bargain basement pricing if I take care of these things for customers. So I don't want to go back and have to go back and do stuff again. So first off, I always put new bearings in these things. So we go through, I usually use Clevite stuff. This is the P series I use for stock and bottom end stuff. And then just a bunch of stuff from Brian Tooley, their cam kit, getting everything else from them. So it'll be easier to go over this PDF. So starting from the bottom, cam bearings $39.99, main bearings $111.99, rod bearings $51.99. All this is assuming that your core is in good shape. It doesn't need rings, doesn't need any rods, pistons, all that jazz. So as long as your short block is good, then this is what I put in them. So we're going to need a cam kit. So that's going to include our cam, valve springs, and our push rods from Tooley. That's $746.87. I always go ahead and put a new cam retaining plate and bolt in. A lot of times that little gasket can get worn, the oil seep by, so that's another $43.95. Lifters, this is where it gets tricky. I only use the Chevrolet Performance LS7 lifters. Yes, they're expensive, but I personally have never had a failure on those. Those are $464.99 at the time of this video. Always go ahead and replace the lifter trays. That sometimes is a lot of the issues with some of these motors. I go ahead and put new tray bolts in just because they're $12. A new timing set, it's $129.99 from Tooley. I always put in a Melling 102.96 or a 103.55 oil pump, $192.99. Gasket kit from Tooley. This is going to include everything, including your head gaskets. Front, rear cover, valley cover, front seal, rear seal, water pump gaskets, all that stuff. It's $430.89. So these gaskets have gotten really, really high. Sometimes you can reuse your old gaskets. You can clean and inspect them. You might can save some money there. Head studs, the jury's out on this stuff. I always price ARP. I've had good luck out of them. Been using them for about 15 years on these engines. Never really had an issue. The Chinese stuff I have had problems out of. The ARP seem to go a long way and seem to be worth the money. Those are $444.85 at the time of this video for a Gen 4 engine. I usually go ahead and replace the crankshaft bolt and use an ARP. That way it's reusable. You can get a stock replacement for probably $10. Save yourself about $30 there, but ARP is $40.99 rather. But then if stuff has to come back apart, you don't have to buy another crank bolt again. Next on the list is rockers with trunnions. So a lot of times you can reuse your stock stuff, absolutely. I just usually clean and inspect. But now, like I say, a lot of the cores, they have a lot more miles on them these days. A lot of times they need a lot more attention. So you can, and I usually do a trunnion upgrade, which is usually like $180. So you can buy brand new GM rockers with a trunnion upgrade from Tooley for $317.98. So if it's going to be a turbo application, I usually do that, especially on my personal engines. I do try to steer my customers that route. If they don't want to and want to save a little money, we can try to reuse the stock ones. Just depends on what kind of shape they're in. These Gen 4 motors are usually DOD, so we need to put a delete cover on there. So the cheapest way is the Chevrolet Performance one, where you still have an eccentric or a boss there for your oil pressure sensors. That's $69.99. And this particular customer needs an oil pan. So for his application, we're going to use the Holley swap pan. And that thing's $465.95. So that puts our parts total between Summit and Brian Tooley Racing, $35.95.40. And that's before sales tax. Sales tax here is 7%, so that makes it $251.67 in sales tax. So as far as machine shop labor, I usually take these things, I tear them down, go drop off the parts to the machine shop. I have them clean the block, check the line hone, check the deck to make sure it's square. Then I have them polish the crankshaft, clean, pressure check the cylinder heads, and if everything is good, I have them surface them and put the new valve springs on. So that usually comes to right around $600 in machine shop labor. And as far as if I do this for customers, I charge $800. They're dropping, an engine off to me, and that's me tearing down, inspecting, taking everything to the machine shop, picking it back up. Assembling the long block includes me gapping the rings, checking all the clearances, degreeing the camshafts, measure for push rod length, etc. So that total is $5,247.07. Like I say, it's January 2025. Parts are silly expensive. You can save a little bit of money through here. I'll leave this up on the screen for just a couple minutes where you can kind of see what I use. And yeah, it's just not cheap anymore. Okay, everybody, I hope that video helps you out on what it costs to do one of these stock bottom end motors these days. Like I say, you can reuse a bunch of your old stuff. You may not even want to change bearings or check that kind of stuff. This is just kind of an overview of how I do them. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, comment down below. I appreciate you hanging out. And if you like what you saw, hit that notification bell, subscribe, all that jazz, and take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a good day.